Hello everybody. So I'll be doing lesson 24, which is aiding user authentication. I'll be doing it with my peer Yasmin. Yasmin, I hope you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you clearly, Martha. Thank you.
Alright, thank you. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to use passport.js to authenticate user accounts on our application. This process involves session cookies, similar to the way that Flash messages use them. By the end of this lesson, we'll have a sign up and a login form that permits only true users of our application to have access. So we have 24.1 implementing passport.js. So passport.js is middleware used by NodeJS to hash new user passwords and authenticate the activity on an application. It uses different methods to create and log in user accounts, ranging from the basic login with username and password to log in with third-party services such as Facebook. So these login methods are called strategies, and the strategy we'll use for our recipe application is a local strategy because we aren't using external services. So for listing 24.1, we have a code that we're going to put in our main.js, which is requiring an initializing passport in our main.js. So we have constant passport is equals to require passport router.use passport.initialize router.use passport.session. So this code sets up the passport.js for authentication in our app. So the initialize starts passport, enabling authentication handling for incoming requests, and then the passport session integrates passport with express sessions so that user login status is stored across requests. Then next we need to set up our login strategy on the user model and tell passport to handle the hashing of the user data in sessions for us. So setting up passport serializing in our main.js. Um, so the code in 24.2 configures passport.js to work with the user model for authentication. We have our passport.use user create strategy, which will set up a local authentication strategy, which is the username or email plus password using passport golden helper from the passport local mongoose. And then passport.serialize user will define how a user's data is stored in the session, and then passport dot the serialize user will define how to retrieve the full user object from the session data on later request. So what the code does, it connects passports to the user model so that users can log in, stay logged in via sessions, and be identified across requests. And then we have so the last step before building the authentication action to log users into our application is to connect our user model to the passport local mongoose module. So we're going to add the passport local mongoose plugin to the user schema. So this is our user schema to handle authentication features automatically. So the user schema plugin adds methods for hashing passwords, authenticating users, and managing logins. And then the username field email tells passport to use the email field as the username for login instead of default username field. So this will enable easy password-based authentication on the user model using email as the login identifier. And then we have 24.4. Okay, 24.2, modifying the create action to use passport registration. Using passport.js has already simplified our code and made it easier to specify which models we'd like to hash and authenticate. So the next step is to modify our create action. So instead of using our bcrypt hashing function before creating the user account, we're going to use passport.js. So we're going to register new users in the create action in userscontroller.js. I'm gonna go to controllers, users controllers.js. So this is the code that goes into our users controller.js. I'm not sure if it's going to. Okay. So this create function handles the new user registration. Um, so if a request that skip is true, validation failed earlier, it skips user creation, and then it creates a new user object from form data using get user params, and then it also uses user.register to save the user and hash the password. Then if successful, it will show a success flash message and redirect to the users list. And if an error occurs, it shows an error flash message and redirect back to the sign up page. So it will register new users securely, it will set appropriate flash messages, and then it also determines where to redirect next. I hope everything was clear on your side, Yasmin. If you have any questions, you will let me know.
Yes, all was very clear, Martha. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.